Welcome to our screencast on the Assessment and Reporting on Students Learning Junior Cycle 2021 from the Level 1 Learning Programmes, Level 2 Learning Programmes team. And it's hoped that the screencast will bring the participants through the different elements of those recently published assessment and reporting guidelines on students' learning. It will engage in the guidelines with a view to students in special and mainstream schools completing Level 1 learning programmes and or 2 level learning programmes. It's important that students learn at a level appropriate to their needs, and that level is provided by Level 1 learning programmes and Level 2 learning programmes. Junior cycle is flexible. Students can engage with Level 2, and where there is a particular need that cannot be met with PLUs and or short courses in Level 2, or because of their needs, they are unable to engage with some of the content of Level 2 learning programmes in terms of PLUs and or short courses. They could engage with Level 1 learning programmes. Similarly, a student following a Level 1 learning programme may have a strength and engage with a priority learning unit or units and or short courses at Level 2. Further information can be found on our website www.jct.ie. There are 2 sections on the website that you need to know about. There is a section for the Level 1 learning programmes and Level 2 learning programmes and all of the related resources. You can access these programmes from accessing the L1LP's / L2LP's link on the JCT homepage, or by clicking on the green box on the 3rd row down as seen on the image of this slide. We would like to encourage teachers to join our mailing list as well as Twitter as we share our updates through these platforms for supporting students with additional needs. You can also email us with questions that you may have to info@jct.ie. Any previous CPD, screencasts and resources can be found on our website. Each school has its own context that will inform their student-centred approach to assessment and reporting practice. These guidelines set out the arrangements for the assessment and reporting on the learning achievements of students who are concluding junior cycle in May 2021. The key messages are explored from a mainstream and special school lens. The document discusses assessment and reporting for students in 3rd year. Each school's journey in terms of a whole school approach to assessment and reporting will be individual, specific to its own context, students and staff. The document outlines weighting and ensuring equity. We will look at assessment, i.e. the weighting and equity in terms of the Level 1 learning programmes and Level 2 learning programmes. As there will not be a junior cycle profile of achievement, there are 2 forms of certification to be used for 3rd year junior cycle students. These being the school report and the state certificate of completion. The document states that each school should adopt a whole school approach to assessment and reporting on student achievement following consultation with teachers of the 3rd year students, and the school should communicate with parents and students in relation to its proposed approach and the time frame for completion of any additional assessments. With this in mind, every journey is going to be different. Each school journey will relate to their context, their students and their staff. We know now, in the context of the ongoing challenges associated with COVID-19 and based on public health advice, that the junior cycle examinations will not run this year. Assessment of students' learning will again take place at school level. With the Level 1 learning programmes and Level 2 learning programmes in mind, schools now have the autonomy to choose the most appropriate form of school-based assessment to put in place for the 3rd year cohort for the remainder of the school year. Regarding a whole school approach to assessment and reporting on a student achievement, questions to ponder. How should our school do this? Who should be involved in this process? What will it look like? How is the communication between school leaders and other stakeholders? Consultation with students and teachers. What's working and not working? consultation with parents, guardians, what's feasible, not feasible, consultation with SNAs, speech and language therapists, occupational therapists, etc. It's about that collaborative discussion tying back to the students. What makes up your junior cycle programme in the school? In terms of level 2 learning programmes, level 1 learning programmes, what are you going to report on and how can you report on it? What have your students engaged in terms of teaching and learning to help you assess and report on learning? What descriptors will you use? In terms of the short courses, have the CBAs been completed? How are you going to assess and report on the area of well-being? These are key reminders found within the Assessment and Reporting on Students' Learning Junior Cycle 2021 guidelines. The first one is the need to consult with teachers of third years. The second is where necessary, greater weighting can be given to work that was completed by students in a face-to-face teaching and learning. Third, some students may be unable to take additional assessments due to issues arising from the COVID-19 pandemic, and that additional assessments, if conducted, should be completed before the 21st of May 2021, and schools should communicate with parents and students in relation to its proposed approach to assessment and reporting on student achievement. Level 1 learning programmes and Level 2 learning programmes are an ongoing assessment process, working to complete learning outcomes and gather evidence for portfolios of work. Schools are encouraged to use a range of evidence to inform their assessment of students' achievements, and these include, and you can see various different suggestions here on the slide. Some students following Level 2 learning programmes and Level 1 learning programmes may have engaged with CBAs in second and third year. These can be reported on. It is important always to think about the purpose of our assessment and its impact on students. Consider assessment of all of the different components of junior cycle programmes that you offer. Level 2 learning programmes, Level 1 learning programmes, PLUs, short courses, well-being. Teachers know their students and determine the most suitable form of assessment for them. Decisions will be based on students' strengths and needs, what a student has engaged with and demonstrated. In terms of the bigger picture, we need to ask ourselves, what is the purpose of assessment? What is being assessed? Why? And how is it being assessed? The bigger picture in relation to reporting, what can we report on? It's about reporting on the broad range of learning that the student has achieved in each subject, short course or priority learning units at the end of the junior cycle. What does your current well-being programme consist of? Have you short courses? What are they? What have your students been involved in their other areas of learning? Think about the well-being indicators, the 8 principles, the 24 statements of learning, the key skills. Students may well have engaged in membership of their students' council. They might have participated in the school sporting activities. They may be a member of various different school clubs. They may have been involved in some student-led initiatives. They may have completed therapeutic therapies. What do we need to do to make all of these things happen in terms of reporting on a broad range of learning? Cognizant of the disrupted learning that students have experienced in 2021 and in recognition of the impact of school closures on students' ability to engage with learning and their ability to complete tasks during the COVID-19 pandemic, any additional assessments or other forms of assignment and/or examinations agreed to be completed by students should be limited in scope, cognizant of that disrupted learning, devised and marked by the class teacher, format that's chosen should be accessible to all students, and that a collaborative approach should be used in schools to devise that suitable time frame for the completion of any assessments, reviewed at a whole school level to ensure that the time frames are balanced and achievable. Additional assessments, if conducted, should be completed and marked before the 28th of May 2021. And where a school administers end of term exams, public health guidelines should be followed. There's a range of supports in relation to assessment on our JCT website. Here you have examples of an assessment activity template as well as overview trackers. Look at these resources in relation to your own school context. Suffice to say, there are lots of resources to gather what students have engaged in over the 3 years of the junior cycle. Questions to ponder in relation to the situation this year where no junior cycle profile of achievement, otherwise known as JCPA, will be issued. Instead, we will have the State Certificate of Completion and the school report. So in relation to reporting, what should be included on the school report? What descriptors can be used? What should it look like? And furthermore, will our students receive a State Certificate of Completion? For each student, certification will involve 2 elements. Firstly, a State Certificate of Completion of Junior Cycle from the Department of Education. Special schools will be expected to enter their data in relation to Level 1 learning programmes, Level 2 learning programmes via the Junior Cycle Award database, or otherwise known as JCAD. JCAD users will be asked to carry out the usual processes associated with JCPA production in relation to the production of the Junior Cycle Certificate of Completion. Data entry is made on JCAD, which is accessed through the Primary Online Database, or POD, for special schools. The school report will be a broad referencing of learning in PLUs. It is a rich account of what the student engaged in over the 3 years. Recognising the impact of reporting on a student, it may be supportive to provide reporting on a qualitative comment basis, outlining the progress and achievement made in relation to learning targets, as opposed to a descriptor only. In terms of Level 2 learning programmes and Level 1 learning programmes, it will be looking at identifying for the students what they have done well in and what the next steps might be. Effective reporting practice is sensitive to the self-esteem and general well-being of students, while providing honest and constructive feedback. In the main, this is achieved through differentiated learning and teaching approaches, and in the case of reporting, should feature progress made towards learning targets based on priority learning needs that have been identified and planned for by students, their parents, teachers, and other professionals in the area of special needs involved. In reporting the progress of students with special educational needs, particular care should be given to the impact that reporting progress using a set of descriptors will have on their self-esteem and motivation. For these students, schools may wish to adapt their reporting formats so that the emphasis is on that qualitative comment about the progress made. And here is the referencing to the guidelines on ongoing reporting for effective teaching and learning from the NCCA. In relation to the Level 2 learning programmes, there are 2 descriptors for this exceptional year that's in it. We have our 5 priority learning units, we have our 2 short courses. but there will be 2 descriptors available for Level 2 PLUs and Level 2 short courses in 2021. They are, the first one we're familiar with is the descriptor achieved. This is where evidence of learning gathered to show the majority of the learning outcomes from every element is reported on as achieved. Then we have our second descriptor, progress achieved, and this is for the exceptionality of the intrusion on learning that occurred from school closures due to the pandemic. Evidence of learning indicates that the student has benefited from access to some learning outcomes, and this will be reported on as progress achieved. In terms of short courses, a short course and the CBA is completed, the short course will be reported on as achieved if the student on balance meets the majority in terms of the features of quality. And the second descriptor that may be reported on as progress achieved, this is where evidence of learning that shows the student has benefited from accessing some of the learning outcomes, and the short course can be reported on as progress achieved. In terms of the Level 1 learning programs descriptors for the PLUs and the short courses, the descriptors for Level 1 PLUs and short courses will remain the same in 2021. That is, in relation to the PLUs, the Level 1 PLU descriptors will remain the same as outlined in the Level 1 Learning Programmes Guidelines, that is of progress achieved and successfully completed. And in terms of the short courses, the Level 1 short course descriptors will remain the same as outlined in the Level 1 short course assessment guidelines, i.e. progress achieved and successfully completed. The key considerations in the provision of school report will be that the written report of the progress and achievement in each subject, short course and or priority learning unit, well-being and other areas of learning. Schools will have the autonomy to devise their own school report format. Schools should include any subject studied, the level if applicable, the grades and or descriptors awarded. The school report should also detail separately the descriptors awarded to classroom-based assessments and or priority learning units. And the school has the opportunity to report on other aspects of achievement, including the wellbeing programme completed by the students. And the report should be provided to students and their parents' guardian as soon as feasible following the completion of the school year 2021. The NCCA has developed some sample templates for reporting on junior cycle, as seen on the sample on the slide here in front of you. Furthermore, we have added a link to the Curriculum Online site of the NCCA. The sample reporting template from the NCCA gives opportunity not only for a descriptor of performance, but also teacher qualitative comment on the progress made. Schools have autonomy over the format of the school report provided. Schools may use the complete template or may exclude elements of the template to suit their particular context and needs. When completing the PLUs and short courses at Level 1 and or Level 2, schools are encouraged to use a wide range, which should include formative and summative assessments undertaken by the students. The types of evidence could include assignments, tests, tasks, journals, portfolios, projects, practical and other work completed over the course of the junior cycle. So what might reporting on the broad range of students' learning achievements look like? It's about building up a meaningful report that reflects the level of learning over the 3 years of junior cycle. It is flexible and personalised to the student and school context. The graphic there in front of you might be a useful reference point. In relation to the students following the Level 1 learning programmes, they will have a portfolio of evidence. They may have been involved in projects, practical work. They may have completed classroom-based assessments in relation to the short courses that they would have followed. For those students who will have completed some of their priority learning unit learning outcomes within the level 3 spaces of subjects, they may have been involved in projects and classwork. Regarding well-being, Level 1 learning programs incorporate significant learning about and for well-being. CSP, PE and SPG provide the curricular pillars for building a school's well-being program. Schools could draw on learning outcomes from the priority learning units within the Level 1 learning programs and elements of the student's personalised programme as outlined in their IEP, their student support file, for their well-being programme. Well-being related learning is contextual and responsive to the needs of the student. In relation to other areas of learning, this reports on the holistic education of the students. It may chronicle individualised programmes of learning the student may have been engaged in over the 3 years, such as therapies. Reference points might be the key skills, the 8 key principles, the 24 statements of learning. Suggestions, but are not exhaustive, might be membership of their school's student council, participation in their school's sporting activities, membership of school clubs, social activities, student-led initiatives, therapeutic therapies, being a member of the active school or yellow flag. It is a meaningful, broad and balanced picture of achievements and what the students engaged in over the 3 years of junior cycle. As such, it broadens the students' understanding of learning outside the academic area, and who might collect and how it might be collected. It may be a case of talking to the students about their learning. Key considerations for reporting on students' learning achievement for those completing Level 1 learning programs are the following. Consistency of reporting. Use descriptors progress achieved and successfully completed as appropriate. Ensure students and parents' guardians are familiar with these descriptors and the curriculum. Clear as to what will be reported on, will be individually relevant, such as all 6 priority learning units and short courses, 1 or 2 PLUs, elements within the PLUs, our well-being programme and other areas of learning. It's an accurate account of students' broad range of learning achievements, and it's about using rich qualitative feedback coupled with that language of reporting, i.e. the descriptors, to give that accurate account of the students' achievements. Key considerations for reporting on students' learning achievements for those completing Level 1 learning programs with combined Level 2 learning programs. To be clear, to use descriptors progress achieved and achieved for this year only for those following and completion of some of the Level 2 learning programs, and progress achieved and successfully completed for those having followed the Level 1 learning programs. What may be reported will be individually relevant, such as those students following Level 1 learning programs, all 6 PLUs and short courses, 1 or 2 PLUs or 1 or 2 short courses, elements within the PLUs, well-being and other areas of learning. In relation to those following the Level 2 learning programs, all 5 PLUs and short courses, 1 or 2 PLUs, 1 or 2 short courses, elements within the PLUs, well-being and other areas of learning. It is an accurate account of students' broad range of learning achievements over the 3 years of junior cycle. Thank you for listening to this screencast. Follow us on our Twitter. Here's the link as indicated on the slide. And furthermore, if you wish to join our mailing list, you can do so through our JCT website. And thank you once again.